Hello guys. Just when I thought it was going great, behold, the torrent of shame. I was driving today just about a mile or two from home, and just on the way back actually from about 5 or 6 miles from home, and I was sitting in traffic, was minding my own business, nothing bad was going on, and next thing I heard a slight bang from, I didn't know where it was from, but it turns out it was from here. So I pulled over, opened the bonnet, and smoke was pouring out through some of the various orifices from this area, and not sure why. You could see there was there was no fire, but there was that acrid smell of blue smoke. Yep, we let the blue smoke out, and it looks like the problem is the pre-charge resistor, because it's no longer resisting at 30 ohms, it's resisting at infinity ohms. It's open circuit. So something happened to make the main contactor go open circuit, I can only assume, and then the pre-charge resistor was still across the contactor, and yeah, I went to move off and it went bang. So we'll have to figure out why. Thankfully I have a spare resistor for it, so that's not a problem getting it replaced, but I need to figure out why it happened. It might also be a good idea to mitigate against it happening again by making sure that resistor is disconnected from the circuit when the main contactor closes. So, yep, that's... oh, I can't believe that happened. But very confused as to why it happened. Clearly the pre-charge was still being indicated from the VCU, so that's why the pre-charge resistor was still in place, because it has its own separate circuit. But I think I knew that anyway. So the fuse is okay. I haven't checked the contactors yet. I've checked nothing else yet except the fuse, and I'm fairly sure if I replace that fuse it'll just go, but that's not really good enough. The other thing that I've done recently, which is different from before, well, two things. I've tidied up the low voltage junction box significantly, which means at least I'll have half a chance of finding the issue and then making changes. But the other thing is I put a heater into it, so the heater would have been drawing a certain amount of current as well, so I'm not sure. Anyway, let's get the resistor out and see if we can see the damage. I think best thing to do first is to just make sure we don't have any voltage here. Shouldn't have. Pretty sure the contactors are open, and yep, so rear contactors are open. No voltages. Double check our voltmeter. Voltmeter's working. Okay. Right, so as I was saying, thankfully we do have a spare resistor for this, because this resistor came with the Volkswagen battery pack that I bought. And of course, if you've seen all my videos, you know I actually bought two of them. So there's a second one somewhere. I just need to dig it out. doing here? Looks like it's melted itself in here. There we go. Oh, that's not good. That's what, yeah, that's what trying to put a couple of 100 amps through a, I'm not sure what wattage resistor that is, probably a 150, 200 watt resistor. But that's what will happen when you try to put a couple of 100 amps through it. Yeah. Any wonder it stinks. I think we'll keep this for posterity on the shelf of shame. So as I said, the fuse blew for a reason. It didn't. It was obviously the current was still going through it, even though the main contactor had gone open circuit. So I guess the next thing to test is this contactor and make sure it still works. Now the contactor is driven from over here from a what I thought was permanently closed connection. So how it ended up open, I don't understand. What I mean by permanently closed is that this this relay is wired in such a way that it will latch itself on, or it should do, thereby stopping said contactor from going open circuit. So why did it go open circuit? Something happened to make that go open circuit, and I don't know what. That's the scary bit. When you try and figure out what the reason was, what happened to make that contactor drop out. I guess need to double check the root of the ground and the positive to that contactor. Trace it back into this junction box and just confirm that it can actually be latched on, that there isn't something that I have missed that allowed that to go open circuit. Right guys, we appear to have found something, but I'm not 100% sure why yet. So what I've been doing is I've been tracing back the feed for this latching relay, which is basically it's the way that I'm preventing the positive contactor from going open circuit. And the feed for that relay was this 5 amp fuse. And I'm not sure if you can see it or not, but it's blown. So now the question is, why did we blow a 5 amp fuse when all it was doing was controlling a relay? I guess the connection between this fuse block, right, this basically the route that the current takes, or the voltage, or whatever you want to talk it takes, is it goes from here through to here, through to the normally open side of the relay. Once that relay goes closed circuit, then once that relay is activated, then this comes out here and was going to the positive end of this relay, and that relay was the other side of that goes to over here. So that is basically just linking, and then that is fed from the main battery positive. So I guess if there was a voltage difference between the main battery positive and this, which is the positive that goes through the switch, I Could there be a big enough current for that to blow a fuse? Big enough voltage drop across that for to blow a fuse? Looks that way. In which case, should I be driving the positive for the contactor from switch 2? But it's good to find a smoking gun. This is the reason why, if that little doodah timer device was to glitch, this would no longer prevent the main battery positive contactor from going open circuit. And that is why the car died. Okay, need to rewire it. Right. At least I know what I need to do. Okay guys, so the great news is we didn't kill it. I've just replaced the resistor, replaced the blown fuse, rewired it so that the latching relay is being powered from here, but also so that the latching power for it comes from here as well. So there's no way that we can be backfeeding from the main power into ignition position 2 through that relay and through a 5 amp fuse. I think what was happening last time was I was driving this entire fuse block from a single 5 amp fuse, and that's not really surprising that it blew. And the problem with that blowing was that at that point I was still providing power to the resistor, and because the fuse blew, the resistor was still getting power, the timer module glitched and the main contactor dropped out, but the resistor was still basically in circuit, so it was actually the car was driving with all of the power going through that resistor, which resulted in a loud bang. So thankfully we didn't burn out any other wires or cause any other problems, as far as I can tell anyway. Like I say, it seems to be going fine now. So lesson learned. Yeah, keep the voltages that are meant to be together and don't split them across 2 different fuse blocks. So we're back on the road again, and yeah, very relieved to get it going again. I still need to tidy up a few things, but almost ready to put it back together. Anyway guys, this is only a quickie. Thankfully. So thanks for watching, and catch you next time. Bye for now.